Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Women in Blue. I am live from Washington, D.C., deep in the DNC Communications Operations Center in the Zoom room. Immediately next door are Carolyn Fowler, President of California, and Gail Buckner, our national president. We are here in town for the DNC meeting. It is quite a serious and yet exciting time for women in the Democratic Party and around the world. We have our sunflowers in sisterhood with everybody suffering in Ukraine and really refugees and people suffering from war all around the world. And we know that women are going to be voices of national security and voices for peace in all of this. We are also excited to be here just hours after the Congress announced and the House is now debating and voting on an omnibus. What does that mean? It is the spending package. And for the first time in 4 years, we're actually going to raise domestic spending more than we raise military spending, which is an important pivot for our country, thanks to the leadership of President Biden, Vice President Harris, Speaker Pelosi, and Leader Schumer, and of course, each and every one of you. So we welcome you at a time of crisis and opportunity. And we look forward to sharing this experience with all of you today. And now let's hear from my co-chair, Hazel Thomas. Hazel?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Christine. Ladies everywhere. It's my pleasure to co-chair the Women in Blue event with Christine Pelosi. It has been quite a joy. She has such a wonderful background, both in law and politics. I like to say she has politics pulsing through her veins. Together, we have worked with an incredible group of women called the Women in Blue Advocacy Day Committee. And they are a stellar group of experienced, talented, highly competent women. And I would like to especially thank the leadership of our Women in Blue Committee, especially the subcommittee on program, the tech subcommittee, which we could not do anything, and the liaison to the state federations and caucuses committee. Very special shout out to the legislative committee. They are the ones who developed the policy position papers that forms the foundation of our advocacy day. I would also, most importantly, however, like to thank you. Those of you who are joining us today at our virtual advocacy day. I know that there are many daily chores that could occupy your time and preoccupy your mind, including taking care of family and children, putting food on the table, a roof over your head, and a little bit of gas in your car. But please know that our interests are your interests. Our concerns are your concerns. Your concerns are our concerns. And that is why we chose the theme, When Women Vote, Democrats Win. Because we've done it before. We did it in Georgia. We did it in South Carolina. We've done it before. We can do it again. Working together from the courthouse to the White House. We will win. Don't get weary in well-doing. 2022 is ours to take. And now on with the program. Thank you again for being with us.
And now, coming to you live from Washington, D.C., is our esteemed president, former state senator in Georgia, long ago sounding the alarm about the threats to our democracy and the threats to our democratic values, as a legislator, as a leader in her state and around the country, and of course, representing all of us on the Democratic National Committee is our president and our leader and our democracy defender. Please welcome Gail Buckner. Madam President, over to you.
Thank you, Christine. And thank you to everyone for being here this morning. What an exciting day. Women have come to the table to make sure their voices are heard. And I hope everyone knows NFDW has 3 seats on the DNC. We are at the table where decisions are being made. Thank you for all that you are doing in your states. Every time that NFDW has asked you to come on board with something that we're putting forward, you rise to the occasion. That is excellent. I too want to thank the folks who have made today possible. Hazel Thomas and Christine Pelosi have done an excellent job co-chairing the Women in Blue Committee. And we also have to do a shout out to Jenny Ballou, Mary Kuehler, R. Denise Everson, and the rest of the committee. What a wonderful job you have done. Now let's enjoy today. Here we go.
Let me get myself unmuted. Good morning, everyone. I am Jenny Ballou from Idaho. I am the third vice president of the National Federation of Democratic Women, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you Jenny Bloomquist. She is a dedicated professional, an extraordinary mom. She's a strong woman that's really showing a great example of living life to her best self. Please show respect for our flag however you best can, and welcome Ms. Jenny Bloomquist singing our national anthem.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I do just want to let you know that was done in her car after she had been suffering with a cold for 10 days, so couldn't perform it sooner, the night after a 30-child, 3-year-old birthday party. So I so applaud and thank her for following through and doing it. So back to you, Christine.
Thank you so much. And what a beautiful, beautiful song. So we know that some of our leaders have already introduced themselves, but let's find out who else is here. Let's go to a roll call of the states.
Alabama.
Hi, this is LaTanya Millhouse, the president of the Alabama Democratic Women. We wanted to bring you greetings from Sweet Home, Alabama.
Arkansas.
Hi, this is Gracie Ziegler, president of the Arkansas Federation of Democratic Women, and we just filed a record number of Democrats to run for office in Arkansas. We're excited about the next 200 days between now and November.
California.
Greetings, NFDW sisters. Carolyn Fowler, California State President, DNC member, and Women's Caucus Chair. So glad to be here with you today.
Connecticut.
Hello, my name is Joyce Pettaway. I'm the president of the Connecticut Federation of Democratic Women. Connecticut ranks as one of the states with the toughest gun laws in the nation.
District of Columbia.
Hello, my name is Barnetta Dumas Jennings, president of DC Federation of the Democratic Women. And on behalf of all of our officers and members of the DC Federation of Democratic Women, we would like to send a very hearty welcome to all the participants of the Women in Blue Advocacy Day. Welcome to Washington, D.C., the 51st state. Now, while you're here, enjoy the cherry blossoms, the food, the attractions, and all the wonderful people of Washington, D.C.
Florida.
I'm Monica Reedus, President of the Florida Federation, home of Janet Reno, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Mary McLeod Bethune, and I have to say it, Sidney Poitier. Florida is here.
Georgia.
Hi, Chinita Allen here from Georgia Federation of Democratic Women. We are so honored and happy that you are here with us, spending time with our Women in Blue. Hope to see you later.
Idaho.
Hi, I'm Jenny Ballou, President of the Idaho Democratic Women's Caucus. When you hear Idaho, you likely think of potatoes. Yet the Hokey Pokey was written in Idaho.
Illinois. Kansas.
Greetings from the Kansas Federation of Democratic Women. Kansas is the only state in the United States whose constitution guarantees women both physical and financial autonomy.
Kentucky.
Hi, I'm Susanna French, and I'm representing the Democratic Women's Club of Kentucky.
Louisiana.
Women in of the National Federation of Democratic Women. I am Betty Ward Cooper, past president of the Louisiana Federation of Democratic Women.
Michigan.
Greetings, sisters. I'm Clarice Squillaci of Michigan, and today I want to celebrate the wonderful Democratic women we have in leadership.
Mississippi.
Greetings from the Mississippi Federation of Democratic Women. I'm Lovey West, president of this wonderful organization that is located in a state that is known for magnolias and Southern charm.
Nevada.
Good morning. I'm Audrey Dempsey from the great battle-born state of Nevada.
New Jersey.
Hello, my name is Margaret Weinberger. I'm the president of the New Jersey Federation of Democratic Women. New Jersey is a democratic state with a diverse and engaged population.
New Mexico.
Guatsi, hello from New Mexico. I am Ashley Surasuno, president of Laguna Pueblo Federation of Democratic Women, proud home to the U.S. Secretary of the Interior, Deborah Haaland.
New York.
Madam Secretary, Madam President, and fellow NFDW sisters, the great state of New York, home to Lady Liberty and the Women's Rights National Historic Park, is in the house.
North Carolina.
Hello, this is Elizabeth Goodwin, President of the Democratic Women of North Carolina, bringing you greetings from the Tar Heel State, where, as our state toast puts it, the weak grow strong and the strong grow great. Wishing the women in blue a fantastic day.
Ohio.
Hi, my name is Edna Borden from the Federated Democratic Women of Ohio, the Buckeye State. We like to say greetings to you. We're the home of the Football Hall of Fame, also the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oklahoma.
Greetings. I am Jana Lewis Harkins, State President of the Oklahoma Federation of Democratic Women. Oklahoma is a Choctaw Indian word that means red people.
Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Diane Gregg, President of the Pennsylvania Federation. Pennsylvania is home to the first newspaper, the first TV station, the oldest continually operating brewery, and a very unreliable weather forecasting groundhog.
Puerto Rico.
Hello, my name is Imgard Pagan, and I am the president of the Puerto Rico NFDW Club. Puerto Rico is the island of enchantment. Come and visit us, and I'm also the Eastern Regional Director. Come and visit us. Have a great day. Bye.
Tennessee.
the Federation of Democratic Women. I am Talise Ezel Turner, the president of the Tennessee Federation of Democratic Women, the volunteer state.
West Virginia.
Hello, Anna Gillespie from the West Virginia Federation of Democratic Women. In the words of John F. Kennedy, the sun doesn't always shine in West Virginia, but the people do.
Washington.
This is Karen Chase bringing greetings from the great state of Washington.
Women's National Democratic Club.
Greetings from Washington, D.C. I'm Laura Whitaker with the Women's National Democratic Club. In 2022, we are celebrating our centennial, and so we are super energized to engage with NFDW and allies across the country to elect more Democrats and fight for voting rights, including statehood for D.C. Have a great Women in Blue event.
Yay for statehood for DC. And now it's my pleasure. What a wonderful roll call. And you can see the diversity of the women who are part of our organization. We're so proud of them and what they're doing. They are fighting the fight, and they're tough and tenacious, and they are getting it done. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you my president of my club, Jeanette Mobley, who is the president of the DC Democratic Women's Club. And she was to have introduced our incredible mayor, Muriel Bowser, who, because of her very taxing schedule, could not be with us today. We have truckers at every corner trying to enter our District of Columbia, but they're fighting the fight as well. So Jeanette will just tell you a little bit about our illustrious mayor. Jeanette?
In 2018, Mayor Muriel Bowser became the first woman ever reelected as mayor of our city. She has many hallmark achievements. She led one of the strongest COVID-19 responses nationwide. She has brought stalled projects online. Walter Reed, St. Elizabeth East in Ward 8, where we will have a new state-of-the-art hospital operated by GW. Ward 6 Waterfront has now become a destination for residents and tourists. She has boldly and without apology defended DC values. She stood up to the former 45. She created the Black Lives Matter Plaza, which stands right in front of the White House. And she brought us closer to statehood. We were indeed proud of her testimony before the House and the Senate. Her motto, fair shot for all. We welcome the Honorable Muriel Bowser.
And now we will hear from the mayor's long-term special advisor, who's also been our Secretary of State and held many illustrious positions in the District of Columbia. We are honored to represent the mayor, Beverly Perry. Beverly, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, National Federation of Democratic Women. I am here representing Mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser. I'm here to thank the Women in Blue for all that you do to protect and advance democracy. I especially want to thank our local chapter, D.C. Federation of Democratic Women, for your continued efforts to uplift the voices and stories of the 700,000 disenfranchised Americans living here in Washington, D.C. Your mission and work have never been more important. We are standing at an inflection point for democracy, both abroad and here at home. Right now, in states across America, there are people hard at work trying to undermine the democratic process. But Americans are pushing back. And women leaders, especially the Women in Blue, are fighting to not only protect the right to vote, but to build communities that work better for everyone. There is no doubt we have made a lot of progress. Last week, we watched as President Biden delivered his State of the Union address, flanked by Speaker Pelosi and Vice President Harris. In his address, he touted the accomplishments of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first Black woman ever nominated to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. We applaud these accomplishments, but we all know there's still much more work to be done. Together, we can rely on each other to keep pushing. Thank you again for all that you do. Thank you, Women in Blue, and have a great day.
And thank you, Beverly. We're so honored to have you with us. We've known you forever, and you've always been there for us. Thank you for sharing your morning with us. And you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now it is also my pleasure to introduce Rhonda Malone, our warrior on the Hill. Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton had such a taxing schedule. She really wanted to be with us, but couldn't. I think you all know that she is on the Transportation Committee in the House and the Highway Subcommittee. So you can imagine that she got called into a number of special safety meetings yesterday and was not able to work with us and is out of town today. So now we will hear from Rhonda Malone. Thank you, Rhonda.
Greetings. I'm Rhonda Malone, President of the Metropolitan Women's Democratic Club in Washington, D.C. It is my esteemed honor to introduce our champion and warrior on Capitol Hill, the Honorable Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. Congresswoman Norton is in her 15th term serving the District of Columbia. Currently, she is the chair of the House Subcommittee on Highways and Transit and serves on two committees, the Committee on Oversight and Reform and the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. Congresswoman Norton has been a champion in the fight for the District of Columbia statehood. She believes in full congressional voting representation and democracy for the people of the District of Columbia. She was the first woman to chair the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, fighting for equal pay for all. I introduce the Honorable Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton.
Thank you, Rhonda. As I said, our warrior on the Hill was not able to be with us today, but I just want to remind you one thing about Washington, D.C. It is certainly the nation's capital, but it's also a city filled with people and families and parks. We're real people, not just monuments. And I reflect back on January the 6th, our Metropolitan Police and our National Guard were ready to go into action, but we couldn't get the word from the national level. We were there. So when you think of Washington, D.C. becoming a state, remember that there's some functions that we serve that serve the whole nation. And that was one day that we were not able to do what we do best, which is defend the Capitol, the members of the House, the Senate, and the people of this nation against anything that comes against the principles of democracy. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Cez Rosales from California, and she will introduce our first speaker.
Thank you, Hazel. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Cez Rosales. I am from California with the California Federation of Democratic Women. I have the honor to introduce to you the senator from Massachusetts, the Honorable Senator Elizabeth Warren. First elected in 2012, Senator Warren was the first female senator elected in Massachusetts. Before becoming senator, she created the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau under President Obama to protect us from the excesses of big banks and corporations. One of the nation's leading progressive voices, Senator Warren is consistently a strong advocate for America's middle class as she fights for doubling federal funding for childcare, reducing student debt, tackling the legacy of housing discrimination, fighting for voting rights, and many more. She has also held some of the nation's largest corporations CEOs, and most powerful government agencies accountable for fraud, waste, and abuse. Senator Warren serves on the committees responsible for economic policy, fiscal responsibility, and economic growth. Without further ado, please welcome Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Hello, Women in Blue. I sure wish that we could do this together in person to celebrate your courage and your advocacy, but that's just not possible right now. Even so, I wanted a chance to join today's live stream just to say thank you. For decades, the National Federation of Democratic Women has fought to build a better Democratic Party by empowering women across the country. This is a righteous fight that kicked into high gear over the past 2 years. In the face of a global pandemic, a struggling economy, a racial reckoning, generations in the making, the threat of climate change, and relentless attacks on democracy, you stood strong. You organized, you made phone calls, you knocked on doors to help us win elections. And after you elected new leaders who promised to stand with and for women, you held them accountable. From Medicaid expansion to reproductive justice, affordable housing, closing the racial wealth gap, and preventing Black maternal deaths, Women in Blue have been on the front lines of the fight for social, racial, and economic justice. Your work proves what I've always known. You don't get what you don't fight for. As we face the midterm elections up and down the ballot, I am honored to stand alongside the National Federation of Democratic Women, because when women vote, Democrats win. And that's true from the courthouse to the White House. And me, I'm in this fight all the way.
The Honorable Lois Frankel has spent a lifetime delivering positive change to her community as a civic leader, Florida state legislator, mayor, and now member of the United States House of Representatives. Since her election to Congress in 2012, Congresswoman Frankel has served on the House Transportation and Infrastructure and Foreign Affairs Committees. In 2018, she was selected to serve on the powerful Appropriations Committee. Congresswoman Frankel currently serves on the Energy and Water Development, Labor, Health and Human Services, Education and related agencies, and State Foreign Operations and related programs subcommittees. She became a leading force to improve the economic condition of family and seniors and protecting human rights and women's reproductive freedom. Fights that she leads as the co-chair of the Bipartisan Women's Caucus, as well as the chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus. Additionally, Congresswoman Frankel serves as the co-chair of Women Lead, the arm of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee that focuses on electing more women to Congress. I give you Florida's Honorable Lois Frankel.
Hello, everyone. Lois Frankel here, member of Congress in South Florida. And I have a big shout out and thank you to the National Federation of Democratic Women for your advocacy, for all the work you do to elect Democratic candidates all over the country. Well, what a world we live in today. Obviously, the war in Ukraine on everyone's mind. And here back home in America, the war on women's bodies and our personal freedoms. We see that in Florida, we see that in Texas, we see it in Missouri, we see it around the country with the politicians overreaching, trying to control women's bodies, our destiny. And in Congress, Democrats have passed the Women's Health Protection Act, which would block Missouri and Texas and Florida type laws that put obstacles in front of women who try and providers who are trying to provide abortions. But it's going to probably get stuck in the Senate with everything else. But here's the thing, and here's what's important. Right now, we got state legislatures in the country, Republican-controlled state legislators against our interests. And we got some members of Congress against our interests. Here's the good news. Good news is Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer in Congress, a new justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and most importantly, you, the activists, to understand as you do that elections count. Elections make a difference. And this should inspire you to work harder and fight harder, because the way we're going to preserve our freedoms and our democracy and control of our own bodies is to make sure that Democrats are elected. And if you can find a few pro-choice Republicans, I guess that's a little difficult today, but we have to get Democrats elected all over the country, and especially in the United States Congress, so that we can be on the same side as Joe Biden. And let me just leave you and say with these words, we have seen an amazing, inspirational figure emerge in Ukraine, the president. He should be a model to all, to stand up for what is right, to have the courage. I know you all do. I hope you be safe and have a great assembly. Good to be with you.
Oh, from the great battle-born state of Nevada. My name is Audrey Dempsey, and I'm the president of the Nevada Federation. I have the great honor and privilege to introduce you to an amazing woman who has far more plaudits than they gave me time to talk about. She's the first female senator from the state of Nevada and the first Latina in the Senate. She has fought for many women's issues, in addition to others, I might say. And when she was the Attorney General here, she created legislation in regard to human trafficking that was a huge, huge problem here in Nevada. She's my senator, my friend, and I'm thrilled to introduce you to Senator Catherine Cortez Masto.
Hi everyone, this is Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. I am so pleased to be part of this event with you all. And I want to thank the members of the National Federation of Democratic Women for their incredible work that you do to support and empower the women of the Democratic Party, and for putting this program together. Now, I became interested in public service at a very young age. I grew up in a family with a father and mother who were very hard-working people. They always gave back to the community, and they were involved in our neighborhood and in local politics in Clark County. And that inspired me to get involved in government and dedicate my career to improving my community and my state. So when I decided to run for Senate, it was because I wanted to make a difference for Nevada. And our Latino community was with me every step of the way. Together we overcame seemingly insurmountable odds, and I became the first woman from Nevada and the first Latina in the United States Senate. Now that election was not an easy one, but thanks to the hard work of organizations like yours, we got out the vote and we succeeded. And thanks in part to Nevada's first majority women legislature in the nation, our state has made so much progress since then. Nevada has some of the most accessible voting laws in the country, including mailing a ballot with prepaid return postage to every active registered voter. This has led to record numbers of Nevadans and Nevada women having a say in who represents them. And we know how important this is. We need our government to look like our communities and to address the issues that matter to them. It has never been more critical to protect voting rights than it is right now. Extreme right-wing politicians have been working overtime to disenfranchise voters, including communities of color, and it's unacceptable. I'm not going to stop fighting to protect voting rights. That's why we need to put in the work this year and make sure every Nevadan's voice is heard. We must continue the progress Democrats have made, lower costs for families, create more good-paying jobs, and move our country forward. And together, I know we can do it. Thank you all again for the work that you do.
Well, we are all applauding. It is so exciting to hear Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. I will say, as a Californian, we also claim her. We were so excited to help phone bank for her and send people over into Nevada, our sister state, to make sure that if people were going to go up to Tahoe to do some fishing or skiing or swimming, they also made sure to make some voter contact to elect her. The only Latina in the United States Senate. We must make her race a priority this year. It is really so critically important for the quality work that she does for the West, for the quality work that she does for women, the Latino community. And of course, it's not just the representation, it's not just being there, it's doing the work as she does. And now let's hear from our first group of states and how they support Democratic Women in Blue.
Hi, this is Gracie Ziegler, President of the Arkansas Federation of Democratic Women. Now, a lot of people say that Arkansas is a very red state, and we respectfully disagree. Arkansas is unfortunately a non-voting and unengaged voter state, and we are working hard to fix that through engagement, education, and of course, electing more Democrats to office. Sharing stories and experiences about Arkansans with Arkansans in everyday conversation, that opens doors and windows to share more about our work. We have created space for women in Arkansas to better understand the impact local government has on each of us and our communities. And all of this helps set the stage to elect more Democratic women who are informed about local issues at every single level. Democrats currently sit in a super minority across the state, but our mighty Democrats at the State House and Senate and our Democratic Quorum Court members in many counties continue to press on and have their voices heard and contribute to the conversation. We are grateful for their work and can't wait to add more Democrats from the courthouse to the State House in 2022. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt said this many, many years ago, and it holds true still today in Arkansas. We have big dreams for our state in the coming months leading up to 2022 elections and for the years ahead. Thank you so much for your time today.
Greetings. Carolyn Fowler, NFDW California President, DNC member, and California Women's Caucus Chair. The previous year's crisis brought many challenging circumstances, exposing the social and economic hardships, especially for women and girls in California. Many members served on key committees during the planning as California implemented its master plan for aging. Several members participated on the Women Against the Recall, National Poll Worker Recruitment Day, encouraging our high school students to bust up their resumes by earning money for their service to the community. Members hosted a virtual conversation and screening of Power to Heal, Medicare, and the Civil Rights Revolution. On King Holiday, Women Caucus members and educators participated in a worldwide King-centered teach-in with lesson plans for students. I'm proud to have accomplished growing our membership, training our volunteers, increasing our diversity, and electing women candidates. Celebrations included the Women's Equality Tea Day, Salute to Women Veterans, Black History, and recently joined the Western Region Conference as co-host with our sisters from Washington on reproductive rights. Now it's up to us to support and advocate for the Women's Health Protection Act and President Biden's Build Back Better. Creating jobs for working families makes us exactly on target with what we need to do. A woman's work is never done, but rest assured, we are the ones.
Hello, my name is Joyce Pettaway, and I'm the president of the Connecticut Federation of Democratic Women. Connecticut is known as the Nutmeg State. Connecticut is also known as the Constitution State. I've been in elected office before. I served 8 years on the Board of Education, and I served 4 years as President Pro Temp of the Board of Aldermen. Connecticut is a state with the most restrictive voting laws in the country. Especially by us being in the North, you wouldn't believe it. But up here in the North, in Connecticut, we have restrictive laws, and we've got to change that. So that's the latest issue in Connecticut, because we see that our democracy is slowly being torn apart throughout the country. And that includes depressing the voting rights of all individuals. The Connecticut Federation will continue to work hard, stand with the ideals of the Democratic Party, support women who are running for office, and support those women who have the ideals of the Constitution, who believes in our democracy, and who will continue to not let our democracy fail. I'm proud to be the president of the Connecticut Federation of Democratic Women.
Hello, my name is Vonetta Dumas Jennings, president of DC Federation of the Democratic Women. And I am so proud of the women of the DC Federation as we are working very hard on our legislative priorities, making every effort to preserve the democracy at home by fighting gerrymandering through equitable redistricting, doing our very best to deter ranked choice voting to protect the elderly and the underserved, fighting against out-of-town money interests that try to take over the role of our voting electorate from the residents of the District of Columbia by funding controlling campaigns, and supporting voting rights and democratic campaigns locally and nationally for the midterm elections through volunteer efforts, phone banking, text banking, postcarding, and individual funding. And of course, making DC the 51st state. There's so much work to be done, and we're not finished yet. And we're going to keep working till we get it done.
Incredible, powerful women we have. And our next speaker is just a force. On the Democratic National Committee in the state of Michigan and beyond, there is no candidate who dares go anywhere near Michigan without checking in with Miss Vergy. She's hosted all the presidents from the Democratic Party and all the wannabe presidents from the Democratic Party in her home, in her community, and she keeps holding us all accountable to make sure that we understand that Black women are the backbone of our party, and they do the work, and they deserve Supreme Court, vice presidency, elections up and down the ballot, but also that we're constantly reaching out to our young people. You haven't gone to an event in Michigan unless you've been there with Virgie Rollins and all of the people that she mentors. It's so wonderful to have her with us today and to serve with her on the DNC. Please welcome Virgie Rollins. Virgie.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you to all the women in blue. And I am just so excited coming from Michigan, where we put Motown was on the map. And so I'm here to introduce our Congresswoman, Debbie Dingell. Debbie Dingell, who is a fierce woman in DC. She got elected in 2015 after her husband, who was the Dean of the Congress, John Dingell. She's been fighting, and the issues that she is dear to her heart is domestic violence, healthcare, labor and pensions, gun violence, infrastructure, transportation, climate change, veterans, education, job and manufacturing, Great Lakes and the environment. She also served as the president of the General Motors Foundation. And we're so excited to have her to represent Michigan. Let's welcome our Congresswoman, Debbie Dingell.
Hi, everyone. It's Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. I really miss being in person with all of you. I'm really tired of videos and reaching out through Zoom boxes, but I wouldn't miss being with you any way that it's possible. So it's good to be with you today. For so many years, I've loved seeing strong women in blue walk the halls of Congress, demanding action for the so many issues that we all care about, that make a difference in so many people's lives. And this year, while it continues to look a little different than some of the years in the past, your work is still critical. It means so much to so many. And what you're doing is going to make a difference. Our voting rights are under attack, and we simply cannot let that happen. Back home in Michigan, the state legislature approved bills that would make it harder for us to vote. And make no mistake, those laws are intended specifically to make it harder for people of color to exercise their constitutional rights, to have their voices heard in the decisions that our government makes. In Washington, the House of Representatives has passed the Freedom to Vote, John R. Lewis Act, to strengthen protections and defend our freedoms so that every person that's eligible to vote in this country can vote, not have those votes diminished or keep people from trying to exercise that right. And let me just say, no one in this country cared more, fought harder, showed strength and character and courage to fight for voting rights for all Americans than my friend John Lewis. You know why we're going to get this done? Because we still feel him with us. I know he's up there with John Dingell looking down. John Lewis is guiding us, inspiring us, and telling us, get this job done. This is his legacy, and we won't let him down. So to all of you women in blue, let's feel his spirit, feel his strength, his energy, and deliver for him. So let's go out together and make some good trouble and get that job done. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Margaret Weinberger, President of the New Jersey Federation of Democratic Women. I'm honored for this opportunity to introduce one of our stellar and extremely busy New Jersey women representatives, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. She's a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy, served for almost 10 years as a Navy helicopter pilot, and was a naval policy officer overseeing the implementation of nuclear treaty obligations. She currently serves on multiple committees, including the House Armed Services Committee, the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, and the Education and Labor Committee. She recently visited the Ukraine and met with President Zelensky. Mikey's smart, kind-hearted, and involved in her community. She invited a former Ukrainian-American mayor from her district to be her virtual guest for the recent State of the Union. She lends her support to the small business community as well as artistic endeavors. And if all that's not enough, she's a lawyer. Take it away, Representative Sherrill. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. First of all, I'd like to thank Margaret Weinberger from the New Jersey Federation of Democratic Women and Hazel Bland Thomas from the National Federation of Democratic Women. And I love this year's theme, when women vote, Democrats win. And we certainly saw that in my district in 2018. In fact, if you heard about the wave of suburban women that really came out in large numbers, not just to vote, but to canvass, to knock on doors, to make phone calls, to write postcards, then you're talking about the 11th District of New Jersey. You're talking about me, because as a mom in the suburbs with 4 kids, I know what's on the table, and I know how important so much of what we're fighting for is. And that's why we saw the record turnout that we did and the support we did. And that support, I'll tell you, has really stayed strong in my district and is so crucial. And let me tell you, when I first decided to run, I went to a prominent woman in my town in Democratic politics, and I said to her, I'm going to run for Congress. And she asked me, who's your base? Who's going to support you? And I said, well, I'm a veteran. I think they'll come out. I'm a lawyer. I think the lawyers will come out, former federal prosecutor. People will support me there, and women. And she said, not so fast. Look what happened to Hillary. And wow, those were really powerful words to me, thinking, I guess that's right. And I worked hard, and a couple months past that, I looked at her and I said, I think something's different. And she said, yeah, I think you're right. And that's because so many of us saw just what was at stake. making sure that we're investing in things like quality and affordable childcare. In half the states in this nation, center-based infant care costs more than in-state college tuition. I know so many of you know that because you've had to pay for it. Many of you have probably paid for childcare that costs more than you were making at the time, like I did. Working at that time was almost a luxury, and we saw some of those horrible numbers through the pandemic as women just struggled to get back to work with so many childcare issues. We know what's important, what's at the table for our children. You know, I was just in Ukraine, and seeing the fight for democracy there really made me realize how lucky we are here. I talk all the time about ways I agree with our president, sometimes about ways I disagree with our president, and I've never once been thrown in jail. And yet that's exactly what's going on in parts of the world today. So I just want to tell you, when we think of the world we want for our children, when we think of the world we want for ourselves, when we think of the world we want for that younger generation of women coming up behind us, this is what we're fighting for now. And that's why we go out and vote. And that's why when we vote, Democrats win, because we know the policies of Democrats are so much better for women, our families, and our future. So thank you all so much for having me here today. Really great to get a chance to speak to you. And thanks so much for getting the women out to vote.
Congresswoman, and let's not forget that it was a letter written by national security experts, including Congresswoman Cheryl, in September of 2019, which really awakened the nation to the fact that President Trump needed to be impeached for trying to bribe President Zelensky into digging up dirt on Joe Biden in exchange for those Javelin defense weapons that we now see them using in the streets of Ukraine against Putin and his forces. So let us not forget her courage, and let us not forget, as we go through what's happening in Ukraine, that it was Democratic women who were a part of making sure that President Trump was held accountable, but also that the world knew we stood with Zelensky then, and we're standing with Zelensky now, supporting the Ukrainian people. And with that, we're going to go to our next set of states.
The Democratic Women's Club of Florida has taken its legislative advocacy to the state capitol in Tallahassee since last fall. Our advocacy and presence in the Capitol have become incredibly meaningful. Our legislators are outnumbered. Partisan politics driven by Governor Ron DeSantis will offer little to no relief for the Floridians who need it the very most. Oppressive legislation threatens the health, success, and safety of Florida's women, children, families, and otherwise vulnerable. So how do we advocate? We show up. We hold press conferences. We rally at the Capitol and around the state. And we educate our communities. We write letters to the editor that are published in various mediums statewide. We have sign-waving events in our local communities and at the Capitol. We make phone calls. We write postcards and letters, and we encourage others to do the same. We know we have a lot of work to do, and we know that women will get it done. We need to elect more Democrats to make change, and we need to encourage more women to run for local, state, and federal offices to effect the change that we want to see, because we know, and they know, that Democratic women will deliver.
Work with our women in blue. Georgia has been so busy. We have several priorities and objectives. Mainly, we are working to increase the Democratic majority within our state. We are working to keep Georgia blue, and we're doing that by supporting our elected officials, helping candidates as they run for office, and holding voter registration drives by partnering with nonpartisan organizations. We are also able to provide our members with several volunteer opportunities within the community as we work on our Democratic Women care. We've gone into several counties, and in particular the sheriff's departments, and we've worked with their female population, because we know that when we support women, we support kids and we support families. We recently did a poll, we did a survey related to what our members thought were our top legislative priorities, and gun control turned out to be our #1 issue here in Georgia, and that's closely followed by abortion rights, affordable housing, and affordable health care. So we are definitely working with our legislators on bills. We are tracking bills. We are calling them. We are texting them, asking them to support legislation that supports our priorities. We are sending action.
Idaho has been described as the reddest of red states in the entire country, but the Idaho Democratic Women's Caucus is working to change that, one voter at a time. We are engaging voters in person and virtually, showing that Democrats are far more plentiful than the headlines would suggest. We are educating people across the state about how Democrats are not the demons the far right would have them believe, and we can deliver on issues that matter to them. We know that the time for staying silent is over. We are showing up, standing up, and speaking out for women across the state. When a Boise State professor made disparaging remarks about women and feminism, Democrats came together to rally and show that his remarks would no longer be tolerated. Our regional directors are reaching out to dark counties to increase awareness and bring rural voters out to the polls. By partnering with our statewide Democratic Party organizations, we've expanded our reach and joined forces in pursuit of common goals. We need more voices and seats to stop the Republican supermajority in the House and Senate, who currently have at least 2 bills to restrict a woman's right to legal and safe abortion, and at least 5 bills to restrict voter access, harming our disabled, our seniors, our rural and tribal communities. In 2022, we plan on getting more Democrats, especially women, elected to public office, up and down the ballot. When women vote, we win.
What a great set of reports. And again, we have some very, very exciting actions that are taking place all over the country. Now, speaking of races that we claim, in the month of December 2021, we were all Georgians, and we were led by some powerful, powerful, powerful women, including Stacey Abrams, the next governor of Georgia, and of course, our own president, Gail Buckner. Madam President.
Thank you, Christine. Yes, it is such an honor to have the opportunity to introduce Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock, your senator, because Democratic women all across this country rose to the occasion and helped us win those 2 Senate seats in the runoff. Senator Warnock is a very busy person. He serves on the Agriculture Committee, Nutrition and Forestry, Banking, Housing, Urban Affairs, Commerce, Science and Transportation, and the Special Committee on Aging and the Joint Economic Committee. Senator Warnock represents the best of what we believe in. He leads by example, and we are so proud to have him as our U.S. Senator. Senator Warnock, share with us what you have you're bringing to for us to hear today.
Well, hello to the National Federation of Democratic Women. It is an honor to speak to you today, to join you virtually. You know, the most powerful words in a democracy are, "the people have spoken." And once again, we are called to make sure the people can speak. Last year, more than 440 bills with voter restrictions were introduced in 49 state capitals across the country, including Georgia. Make no mistake, this is an unabashed and unembarrassed effort to put democracy in reverse so that rather than the people picking their politicians, the politicians are trying to pick the people. Amid these attacks, it is the responsibility of all of us in office to make it easier, not harder, to vote. And I know that we are all in this fight together, that we will not be discouraged when we are working together to ensure that every eligible Georgia, every eligible American can access the ballot box. Now, let us all remember that part of the mission of voter suppression is to so demoralize the electorate, make you so soul weary with the fight that you don't even bother to try. You don't even bother to show up. We will not let them win. Don't let them take your fight. The work you do at the National Federation of Democratic Women is critical to our fight to make sure that every voter can make their voice heard at the ballot box. Thank you so very much for everything you do. Thank you for having me today. Keep the faith and keep looking up.
We're now going to have the next round of states. And I just want to say that I have learned so much just this morning and this afternoon from the great states who have shared their programs with us. And I've learned so much also from our elected officials. And so I too am enjoying this program. And again, I thank you all for being with us. So now we're going to have our next round of states, federations, and caucuses to speak. Thank you, ladies.
In the beautiful bluegrass state of Kentucky, we are proud to supply the world with bourbon, 90% of which is made right here in Kentucky. We have the fastest 2 minutes of sports in the Kentucky Derby, and we also have a wonderful federation in the Democratic Women's Club of Kentucky who are motivated and inspired, even in a red state, to continue to elect Democrats up and down the ballot. They were successful in that work when we elected Governor Andy Beshear to lead our state during a pandemic. And Governor Beshear made really bold decisions to help make sure that the occupants of the Commonwealth remained safe and that we were able to return to some sort of normal. And our women in blue are going to make sure that we work hard to see that Governor Beshear gets reelected in his upcoming reelection campaign. We're also going to work hard to see that we send a Democrat to Washington and replace Senator Rand Paul, which is the top of our ticket. And then we are going to work hard up and down the ballot to see Democrats elected in state and local and municipality races. All of those will come up this year. We have a lot of local elections and we're working hard. We look forward to helping our sisters across the country and our southern sisters in the southern region. We look forward to seeing you all soon.
In spite of the effects of 24 months of COVID-19 and the variants and all that entails, we continue to work smart and to work hard to foster Democratic victories for this year, 2023, 2024, and beyond. Our Democratic values remain the same. We're going to be advocating for middle-class families and all that entails, putting Democrats in a position to win and to revitalize the participation among the young college Democrats. Our chairwoman of the Louisiana Democratic Party, Katie Bernhardt, and her team, they're leading the way with their Kick the Boot Blue initiative. It focuses on voter registration, voter engagement, and voter mobilization or voter turnout. And the goal is a turnout, a significant turnout in over 900 key Democratic precincts across the state. I want to leave you with a quote by Hillary Clinton. There cannot be true democracy unless women.
Hello, sisters. I'm wanting to talk to you about some specific packages we have in the House and the Senate in the state of Michigan that I believe will positively benefit and impact women and their families. We have a special package going through on family medical leave, and it says that all employers must discuss their family medical leave policies with all employees and prospective employees. Another part says that Family Medical Leave Act must be extended to women experiencing domestic violence, be it stalking, be it sexual assault or assault. And finally, we have a Women in the Workplace package that defines specifically break time. It says that break time must be extended 15 minutes for every, I believe it's 4 hours worked. So with that, this concludes my report, and we have special elections tomorrow in some of our counties and towns in Michigan. So I'll be busy working on that. Take care.
This is Lovey West, President of the Mississippi Federation of Democratic Women. Our state top 3 priorities are voting rights, which include redistricting and early voting, economic justice, supporting the Equal Pay Bill, and women's health, supporting Medicaid expansion. The Federation is working hard to strengthen our clubs, educate our communities, and solicit our elected officials to act on our priorities. We are working with Representative Hester Jackson McCray to support the early ballot initiative she has sponsored. We believe all elections are local, and driving local grassroots efforts to get out the vote is our mission. That is why we are fighting for democracy, where all Americans can enjoy the land of the free and the home of the
so much happening here in the great blue state of New Jersey. From the top, we have our Democratic supportive senators, Cory Booker and Bob Menendez, a progressive and competent governor, Phil Murphy, and a lieutenant governor, Sheila Oliver, who's a member of our Essex County chapter. We have a solid relationship with our New Jersey State Democratic Committee. Our newest state assemblywoman, Sadaf Jaffer, is the first Muslim woman and the first woman of South Asian descent to have served as mayor. Our governor signed statewide women's health care legislation showing his support. Our executive board is diverse and experienced. Our vice president, Rachel Green, created and maintains the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee and Survey. Our secretary, Roberta Walters, works with Planned Parenthood and Indivisible. Our state chapter is busy. We hold events, including our own statewide Women in Blue event at our state capitol in Trenton, New Jersey, and our annual Peg Roberts Volunteer Service and Elected Official Awards event. For this event, we created a Lifetime Achievement Award to honor our retiring advocate and long-term Senator, Loretta Weinberg. And finally, we have two executive board members, Rachel and Sean, working toward their doctorates. We are working to add another chapter to our state federation, and we keep in touch via social media, including Greenfly and email newsletters. Thank you so much. Please come visit us.
Well, we're always happy to visit a blue state. We want to visit every state, but we'll be happy to visit our friends in New Jersey. So now we have a moment where we get to take a little bit of a break. We know you've been working very hard. No one's been working harder than our tech team, so we want to shout them out. Thank you very, very much to the Women in Blue tech team. This is hard stuff. And yet it's all flowing and it's all wonderful. So everybody, why don't we take a 15-minute break? Yes, that's a 15-minute break until 40 past the hour, 40. We're going to have some music playing all through the break. And when you come back, we're going to have some more information for you, some more videos, and some words of inspiration from the Speaker of my House, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, along with DNC Chair Jaime Harrison, some poetry, some thoughts and feelings. We can't wait to see you all back here, 40 past the hour. Meanwhile, let's enjoy a little musical interlude. Thank you.
The ladies who took the time to be with us today. This is so wonderful. Look at you. Hi. So proud of you. Hi. These are everybody look around. Look to your right, look to your left. These are the people who've gotten it done all across the country. It is no one woman's effort, no one man's effort. It is all of us working together as a team. And we're just really, really, really so proud of you. I'm thankful for all the wonderful chats that you had that you put there. And it shows your interest. And make no mistake, earlier I said, your interests are our interests. We're a big tent party and we do have a lot of things that we care about, but we also have some common democratic values in common. And that is why today's focus is on our action agenda. not just to hear what people are done, but what they're doing and what together we can do going forward. And we listened to you when you said that you wanted to know what to do at the local level, at the county level, at the state level, in rural and suburban and urban areas, how you can organize, because we cannot allow those other people, those red people, to out-organize us. And so take notes, listen, we got this. We got this. We know how to get it done. Democratic women can do it. And that is why we chose that theme. When women vote, Democrats win. And from the courthouse to the White House, because we've done it before, and we can do it again. And our subtitle is, Leave No Voter Behind. Remind people of what the Democrats have done. Remind them of what we've done for childcare, what we've done for food safety, what we've done for COVID-19. Remind them that it was not the other party, it was Democrats. So ladies, with that, I think we can get started. I just want you to remind folks that the people who got it done for them were big D Democrats. Thank you. Unity is power. Thanks a lot.
It is power. And now we're going to hear from some powerful women in the states giving their reports. So let's hear from some more of our sisters in service from throughout the country.
Hello, I'm Beverly Michael, President of the New Mexico Federation of Democratic Women. We've been busy this year as our state legislature just wrapped up its 2022 session. We held our Women in Blue Day virtually on January 25th. Our position papers this year matched pending legislation to each resolution. We presented a short workshop teaching members how to navigate our state legislature website. This made it quite easy to follow important legislation and lobby from home. We had 87 members attend this virtual event where we heard from many of our Democratic legislators. Our keynote speaker was our Secretary of State, Maggie Toulouse-Oliver, who spoke about the importance of election integrity and legislation for voter rights. Unfortunately, the Republicans filibustered this effort. Most of our initiatives were pastor funded. Teachers in New Mexico now have a starting salary of $50,000. We passed the Opportunity Scholarship Act, which creates a pathway to free higher education. Democrats also passed measures to support working families with a child income tax credit and excluding Social Security from state income tax for many seniors living on fixed incomes. There is much more I could go on about, but I want to mention all the work by our Native American communities to fund an office with our attorney for missing and murdered Indigenous women and men. Current initiatives at the federal level that we would like your support on include strengthening the Indian Child Welfare Act and expanding broadband access to Pueblo lands. Thank you.
Greetings from the land of sweeping plains and waving wheat. Cherokee Chief Wilma Mankiller said, "Wiser and more responsible people are chiseled from crisis." As the third reddest state in America, Oklahoma is definitely in crisis. In November, we have the rare opportunity to elect a governor and 2 U.S. senators. Several Republican congressmen have announced to run for the Senate, which creates additional opportunity for Oklahoma Democrats in key congressional districts. Under the guidance of inspirational Democratic leaders like Oklahoma State Senator Kay Floyd, Oklahoma State Representatives Emily Virgin and Cindy Munson, and ODP Chair Alicia Andrews, we have implemented processes and programs to engage, educate, and empower Oklahoma Democrats. Targeted voter registration is the key to meeting these opportunities head-on. Throughout the current election cycle, the OFDWC will be working with selected small businesses, organizations, and faith communities to achieve our ultimate goal: turn Democrats out in record number on Tuesday, November 8th. Democratic women are no strangers to hard work. Our state motto is, "Labor conquers all things." Let's get busy.
Hi, my name is Diane Gregg. I'm president of the Pennsylvania Federation of Democratic Women. Pennsylvania is known as the Keystone State, and this year we really may be the key to keeping Congress in Democratic hands. Our Supreme Court today ruled on fair congressional maps, which give us a chance of taking the majority of the seats for the first time in decades. We are looking forward to our Women in Blue in Harrisburg, our state capital, on Monday, March the 28th. We have several legislators who are sponsoring us for the day, 9 to 3, where we'll have lunch with them and other legislators, our picture made on the Capitol steps, a tour of the Capitol, which is really quite beautiful if you ever have a chance to go by, and time in session in both the House and the Senate, and to visit with and lobby legislators about issues of interest to us. And there are very many, as you all know. We wish the National Federation a very successful Women in Blue, as well as our own, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks, bye.
We know that this week is the 1-year anniversary of the American Rescue Plan. Remember, we put millions of shots in arms, dollars in pockets, workers back on the job, and children back safely in our schools. And we did that without one Republican vote. Democrats delivered that, and we will continue to deliver that. On another note, as you know, 2 years ago last month, candidate Joe Biden promised that if he were elected president of the United States, that he would put a Black woman on the United States Supreme Court. And on the 2-day anniversary of that promise, we all got introduced to a tremendous jurist, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who the senators already know because they confirmed her a year ago to the DC Circuit Court of Appeal to succeed Merrick Garland, our new Attorney General. And before that, she had been confirmed as a district court judge. So we are very excited because not only is this a promise kept, but this is a tremendous jurist, an incredibly smart and brave woman who has taken on her legal career with intelligence, with integrity, with talent, and earning the respect of her peers along the way, even her conservative Republican, related by marriage, Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan.
Oh my God.
Now, you know that it takes a lot in this political climate for a Republican to come out and say, I don't care about the party registration. I care about her talent, and she is tremendously good. So Justice KBJ is going to be formally presented for consideration to the Senate of the United States on March 21st for 4 days of hearings. We want everybody to tune in on C-SPAN. We want everybody to watch those hearings and to lift her up. Each and every one of you have HCBUs, you've got African-American law professors, you've got legal experts from the Black community who can be lifting her up as well. We encourage each of you in your chapters to make sure that you have an informational session with your members and with Black lawyers and Black deans and Black leaders to explain her record, to give out the information about her, but also to make sure that they know how important this is. As a white woman in the law, it's pale, stale, and male for me. So just imagine what it is for Black women, and just imagine what it was for her to overcome the microaggressions, macroaggressions, and the belittling that we already see. What did we hear from Tucker Carlson the other night? Show me your LSATs. Please, I don't even remember what my LSATs were. And in 25 years of reviewing other people's resumes, other lawyers' resumes, I never once asked, and I don't think anybody offered. So that's just the new birtherism. Show me your birth certificate. And by the way, they never asked a single white justice candidate or judicial candidate at any federal level for their LSATs. So yes, it's ridiculous, but we also have to call it out and explain why your grades that and scores that got you into school have nothing to do with the caliber of the judge that she has proven to be, and with the caliber of your judicial record. And of course, nobody knows that more than the twice impeached one-term loser who never showed us his tax returns or his transcripts or his grades, despite calling himself a genius and calling Putin a genius. So needless to say, we want to advance her because she's a tremendous jurist, and we're about to show you some videos about her, but we also need to defend her. Don't be afraid to get in the fray, to get tough. Don't leave that charge unanswered. It's not so ridiculous that everyone will think it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because it's a stupid thing to ask. She's a brilliant woman with a great career, tremendous degrees, and by the way, more courtroom experience at this moment, more courtroom experience than Barrett, Kavanaugh, and Kagan had combined when they were brought up as Supreme Court justices. So we're very excited to play these videos for you and to get you ready to be on Team KBJ and to welcome soon the very first African-American woman and a great legal mind of her generation, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson.
When I pass by the Supreme Court, I will smile. Someone who looks like me will be there. Someone behind those doors understands the complexity of the triple jeopardy that I experience, race, class, and gender. It means she will be there for this and the next generation of young Black women. I see her even now in the spirit of our ancestors. The haters are trying to steal our joy, but we have a joy that they didn't give, they can't understand, and therefore they can't take away. When she enters and is seated in the highest court of this land, she will bring the whole past, present, and future Negro, Black, African American, Americans of African ancestry with her. The weight on the shoulders of this Black woman is heavy, but I have faith and I have her back. Tell your senators, confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court.
It's my honor to introduce to the country a daughter of former public school teachers, a proven consensus builder, an accomplished lawyer, a distinguished jurist, my nominee for the United States Supreme Court, Judge Ketanji Jackson.
I am Ketanji Brown Jackson. I have just had the honor of being nominated to sit on the United States Supreme Court. I started thinking about the law when I was really young. My father went back to law school when I was a kid. We lived on the campus of the University of Miami, and my dad would sit there with all of his big, thick legal books. And I would bring my coloring books and I would sit next to him and watch him study and pretend as though I was doing work as well. I had not really seen a lot of colleges except that I did speech and debate, and Harvard has a tournament. And I went several years in a row and competed in that tournament and thought, I like this campus, maybe I'll apply. I had the good fortune of working for a Supreme Court justice as a law clerk. Justice Breyer was an incredible boss and mentor. As a clerk, you help the judge or the justice that you're working with to draft their opinions and to make sure that their thoughts are put down carefully in the law. And so it was just an enormous opportunity to get to see how the justice system really works at the highest level. I have spent my life admiring lawyers and judges from all backgrounds, but especially those who are African Americans like me, who have worked very hard to get to where they are. I have been inspired by Judge Constance Baker Motley, who was the first Black woman ever to be appointed to the federal bench. She was a civil rights lawyer before she became a judge. It meant a lot to me in my career to have her as an inspiration, and I would hope to be an inspiration to other young people, lawyers who may want to enter this career and who may want to go into the judicial branch. I have had the great good fortune of actually having been nominated to 3 prior positions that require Senate confirmation. I was nominated by President Obama to the United States Sentencing Commission, nominated by President Obama as well to sit on the United States District Court for the District of Columbia. Then I was nominated by President Biden to sit on the Court of Appeals. And now President Biden has given me the honor of nominating me to the United States Supreme Court.
Today, I had the privilege to meet with Judge Jackson in one of the first meetings she had on the Hill. She's an incredibly impressive woman and will make a great Supreme Court justice. You think about the fact that she has more experience as a judge than 4 of the people that are currently on the Supreme Court. She'd be in the top 2 for trial experience, and she's been both a public defender, but her brother, police officer, served in the military, and her uncle was a police chief in Miami. So she has an understanding of our justice system that comes from people that are working directly in it. I think that's going to make her a fair judge. I think it's going to give her an understanding of issues that are out there, but also the people. She is the daughter of 2 school teachers. I'm the daughter of a school teacher, so I think that's a pretty cool qualification. And mostly, she's just a very warm person, and I'm looking forward to her hearing, and I hope everyone will tune in. Thanks, everyone.
And again, as was said before about Senator Warren, here you have a rival of Joe Biden's and Kamala Harris's for the presidency, and the vice presidency, Amy Klobuchar, who very pointedly took one of the first meetings with the justice and decided to share her support for our Supreme Court nominee with the country. And I think it's really, again, shows the collaborative nature of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the entire administration that we really do have a team of rivals. That also speaks to the tremendous qualifications of our nominee. So I put it in the chat. Go to whitehouse.gov/KBJ. whitehouse.gov/KBJ. And you will find a toolkit with some video and some information that you can use in order to share her story. And again, we encourage you to share that with your chapters and also to do events framing this with your chapters. Either do an event, do a conversation, do a joint press release, letters to the editor. Find ways to get her story out during the week of March 21st, when we'll be having those Senate hearings. And in answer to your question, Ms. Virgie Rollins, Tucker Carlson went to Trinity College, a good college, but he shouldn't be shirking somebody who's got 2 Harvard law degrees. Now, should he? No, he should not. Anyway, back over to my co-host, Hazel Thomas.
Thank you. See why it's such a joy to work with Christine. She's an author herself of 3 books on politics and an attorney, and she's currently our 5th vice president of the NFDW. So it's been a real joy to work with her, and it's been a learning experience as well. And now we're going to have our final group of speakers from the various states, and we look forward to hearing from them and what they have to say.
Hello, Women in Blue. I'm so happy to talk to you today. Women in Blue have done an amazing job. Throughout all these years, you have worked hard to get the Equal Rights Amendment passed in Congress. You have also engaged in getting the voting rights for women and for all people. I tell you, I'm so happy to talk to you. As Eastern Regional Director, we have been doing the same, trying to help in all those principles. But let me tell you, we still need many things to accomplish. I'm happy to tell you that we are working very hard getting and trying to get the statehood for Puerto Rico and statehood for the District of Columbia, plus getting statehood also for other territories. Democratic principles have been defended by you and also by us. You have been working very hard also to get affordable education for everyone. You have worked hard also to try to get rid of monopolies that are killing the middle class. I tell you that you have a friend in me and a friend in all of us. You can count on me and count on Puerto Rico to work hard, especially getting past all our principles and our agenda. God bless the Women in Blue. Thank you.
Hi, this is Talise Turner, the president of the Tennessee Federation of Democratic Women. At this time, I would like to present the legislation report for TFDW. Our TFDW legislation chair is Ms. Cassandra Smith, a member of the Democratic Women of Shelby County. Her and her committee has been quite busy this year presenting and developing position papers. Our first position paper that was prepared was the Independent Redistricting Commission, which is very important to Tennesseans. At this time, our legislatures are the ones that prepare the maps and also vote on those maps, and we feel like there should be independent individuals that are doing that job. We did a position paper on Women's Health Protection Act of 2021, the Common Sense Gun Safety, the Equal Rights Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, renewal of the Violence Against Women's Act, and also we did a position paper on youth and veteran suicide. Our legislation committee will be presenting at our April 20.
Greetings from Washington State. My name is Karen Chase, and I'm the president of the Washington State Federation of Democratic Women. Our 8 Washington State chapters are working hard to recruit candidates and advocate for our shared values. This past year, we embraced the virtual platform to host statewide forums on defending reproductive rights and the tragedy of Indian boarding schools. On the national front, we were honored to co-host the Western Regional Meeting in February with our California sisters. Each of our meetings convenes with a land acknowledgement to recognize that we live on the unceded lands of the Indigenous people. I acknowledge that we gather today on the homelands of the original inhabitants of this land. As the original inhabitants of this land, the Indigenous people continue to be stewards of the land and waterways, where a way of life has been sustained with gathering, hunting, and fishing in their usual and accustomed areas since time immemorial. Thank you.
Women in West Virginia are fighting an uphill battle with a Republican supermajority in leadership. In the West Virginia legislature, Democrats have 4 women in the House of Delegates and 1 woman in the state Senate, paving the way forward for Democratic women and girls. Equal pay, equal rights, good quality health care, and policies that provide a better future for all West Virginians remains top priority. Women in West Virginia make up over half of the population, and if we want to see more women in leadership, we must work together to elect more women to office, get more women out to vote, and encourage Democratic women and girls in West Virginia to stand up, speak out, and get involved. With one common goal, making West Virginia a better place for all, the women of the Democratic Party and the Federation of Democratic Women will continue to fight to ensure that all Mountaineers are equal and West Virginia's future is brighter.
Wanted to reflect on West Virginia and what a pivotal role their senator plays in the politics of the whole nation. So they really have a tough battle. We need to support them as we support each other. And as was said so eloquently by Hillary Clinton, we're stronger together. That shows today. Thank you. And on to the next section, which my co-chair, Christine Pelosi, will speak.
Yes, actually, I was going to kick it back over to Ginny Ballou, who is the chair of our programming committee, to talk to us a little bit about the states who participated, to make sure that we have acknowledged everybody who has been a part of what we're doing today, and summarize the work that people are doing so we can synthesize all of this for all of us here. So we have our to-do list, but also so that we can go out and spread the word. So over to you, Ms. Ballou.
Thank you so much. This is also known as that little fill moment, because we're waiting on something, right? We do these things, and so we've got to keep you entertained and engaged and let you know as soon as we can. They'll cut me off and we'll go right to the next thing we have prepared. But we did have, a couple little glitches. Of course, when you're running the first time, you're doing it all Zoom. And those of you that participated last year as well, you know that live had its issues as well of waiting for someone to be available off the floor for a vote to come do their talk. So I think this has been phenomenal, don't you all? I think the tech team has done great. I think our speakers are phenomenal. I am so impressed with the video skills of all of our states. Holy cow, we've got some creative, talented people. It's just phenomenal. I do want to make sure that we just read them off and give that quick shout out to make sure all states were listed. And I do apologize that we didn't have the agenda readily available for you all. So we've been making notes of things we'll do better next year even. And of course, a big shout out to my co-chair on the program committee, Lloyd Bryant. So I want to make sure that you all know that we all do this as a team, and it has been an honor to work with this group of talented, committed people. So the states that we've had represented in Women in Blue have been Arkansas, California, Connecticut, the District of Columbia, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, Tennessee, Washington, and West Virginia. Isn't that amazing? I think from my count before, that's 23 different federations. And last time we had a great showing with 16. So that's nearly a 50% increase. Next year, let's shoot to have everybody involved. Because hopefully we're together. If not, we can do some hybrid format. We're all learning how to do that, right?
Yes.
It's kind of what we're all doing. So the point of doing Advocacy Day, besides hearing from these great speakers and getting really enthused and engaged, and if you're in a deep red state like I am, boy, do you need it sometimes, right? You really do. And so one of the things that we are normally doing is going and actually talking with our representative instead of them talking to us. It's our opportunity to show up in our blue, walk those halls, have people going, oh gosh, they're here again, right? What's that little one? You want to be the woman that when your feet hit the ground in the morning, the devil goes, oh no, here she is again. And we want to be that good trouble, right? So we want to hit the ground running. We go through those halls, we meet up. I see so many of you that I've gone to your meetings. I have great pictures with Benny Thompson from going with the women from Mississippi and Louisiana and Arkansas. We had a great time. And so we normally go to them. The legislative team has created the most fantastic set of legislative position papers. You can get those off of the NFDW website, and I think I'm going to bet that this will end up in the chat as I start talking. Someone on that tech team will be that great and post a link to the position papers in there. And you'll be able to, I mean, the work that that team did, Joan Savoy, I mean, that team, just phenomenal work. A huge shout out. And if you were lucky enough to take part in their presentation on the papers on each issue, oh my goodness. So you're here 15 positions and you think, what are they thinking? That's too many. And then they broke it up with 3 people each presenting their 5. And when they were each done, I thought those are the ones I care about the most. Everyone they talked about was the one I was like, yep, that's the one I want. So I see how they had a hard time keeping it to that. But we recommend, of course, that you just pick 1, 2, 3, maybe, that you call and follow up after this meeting. Get in touch with your representatives. If they were great enough to take part in this, of course, thank them, please. Tell them how much we appreciate them having made a video for us and how we look forward to seeing them next time. And of course, you'll be contacting them about their votes. So, you know, that's really what this is about, is making sure that we're out there building those relationships with our representatives and making sure they remember they represent us, right? So those are the things we've got. Have I filled enough time? Are we still waiting? I don't see Christine looking up, so I'm guessing I'm supposed to just keep telling you stuff. Ms. Hazel?
Yes, I was just looking at oh, I'm muted. I was just looking at my, because I'm getting messages from our incredible tech team. And I see that Senator Klobuchar has introduced a new plan which invokes the 14th Amendment to ban 45 from running for president in 2024. There are still an incredible number of people who support this person who has done nothing to support them and has only done things to support himself with his egomaniacal person that he is. But yet, it's astounding to me. It is absolutely astounding that the Democrats, who are the ones who have supported them, starting with healthcare and childcare and support for lower prices in pharmaceuticals and Medicare and Medicaid, we're the ones who had their back, but yet people who are the poorest of the poor, who need the most support, and are the ones who are supporting him. It's astounding. What does that say? It says that we have to do a better job of consistent messaging, both at the local level, at the state level, and everywhere. Because we have to let people know who has their back, and it's not the Republican, it is us. And we have to make sure that folks understand that it's in their best interest. They want jobs, they want clean water, they want climate control, they want improved broadband access for children who are trying to do schooling at home. They need Democrats. They need Democrats. And so that's what we have to do to make sure that our message is understood and it's heard. So I just wanted to say those few things. And again, I go back to our theme, which is to leave no Democrats, to leave no Democratic voters, are people who could potentially become Democrats, leave no voter behind. Because we make assumptions that people won't listen to us, that they won't hear what we have to say. We have to open our minds and our hearts and hear what people have to say. And just one final thing I wanted to convey to you, and that is we have to listen to young people. We sometimes don't listen because they may have a different way of approaching things, new approaches to technology, different verbiage, different platforms. But together, working together, we can have an incredibly powerful program. And they have so much to say and so much energy. And they have good knees, so they can do a lot of the canvassing with us and for us. And so we just need to open our minds and listen to them. They have so much to contribute. So with that, I will turn it over to Christine. I don't see Christine. So let me just give you what I consider our little commercial. I hope that all of you will join us for the National Federation of Democratic Women's Convention, which will be June the 11th. We will have incredible speakers, June 10th and 11th. Thank you very much, tech team. You see why we need them so? And they will, at that convention, we will have speakers, nationally known speakers, members of Congress and the Senate. We'll have internationally known speakers and perhaps some book reviews. It's always an opportunity for us to learn together and to work together. We can't win unless we work together. And this will be another opportunity. So this will be our 51st annual national convention. And I hope that all of you will be present. The convention will be virtual this year, unless something happens, unless something very different occurs. Our emphasis has been on making sure that we keep our members safe. We're going to redouble our efforts to involve as many young people and people from states that are considered red and purple states, both in the planning as well as in the execution, because we need to hear from all Democrats. As we said earlier, it's a big tent, but we have so very much in common, starting with our charge this year has to be to preserve voting rights and to fight voter suppression and subversion. There are all kinds of tactics that are being employed to keep people from the polls, to stack the deck with biased Republican election workers, election officials, so that, as Senator Warnock said, what they're trying to do is, rather than the people electing the officials want to elect the people. They want to select the people, and they want to exclude people of color, Black folks, Native Americans, young people, senior citizens, anyone whom they consider to be partial to Democrats, they want to exclude. And so we're in this to win it. We're in it to win it. And we can't do it without all of you fighting shoulder to shoulder, having each other's back. We can do it. And now over to our president, Gail Buckner. Gail?
Well, thank you, Hazel. If I may share that our theme for the convention this year is 2022, time for good trouble, necessary trouble. So as our members have been referencing John Lewis and his quotes today, that has certainly warmed my heart. I believe who we want right now is, are we ready to introduce Jaime Harrison? Is that what we're doing now?
No, we have a different video planned first.
Okay. Well, somebody clue me in, because I'm not sure what I'm doing.
Oh, you're all set. We just wanted to make sure that we heard from you. We'll be hearing from you again, but first we're going to hear from the speaker, and then we're going to hear, we have a video, and then we're going to turn it back over to you. So nice to hear from you now. Thanking everybody for coming. And with that, we're getting ready to have a conversation. We have a video that was crowdsourced by the committee and by members of the National Federation of Democratic Women. We wanted to make sure that we were getting answers to the questions that were on your minds. And it's very exciting for me to be able to introduce this video. You know, I was a very, very, very tiny tot when C. Dolores Tucker founded the National Federation of Democratic Women. And one of the Democratic women who was starting to get active in the party at that time at a very, very, very local level as just pushing us in a stroller was our next speaker. She became the Northern Chair of the California Democratic Party and then the State Chair of the Democratic Party. She was a member of Democratic National Committee, never thought that she would run for office, instead was pushing a stroller, had 5 babies from diapers to degrees. And then it was really when we were in school that our local Congresswoman, Sala Burton of San Francisco, was a strong advocate for Soviet Jewry, which, you know, again, rings true now when we think of what's happening in Ukraine. And she was dying of cancer. And she said, you know, there's one person I want to run. That person is someone who's never run for public office before, but someone I think knows the issues, has put in the work. And despite running against 4 sitting city council members, what we call supervisors out in San Francisco, and 9 other people, it turned out that the longtime political volunteer but elected official neophyte, Nancy Pelosi, was first elected to Congress. She was elected by her peers to be the Democratic whip, the Democratic leader, the Democratic speaker, the Democratic leader, and then again, the Democratic speaker. And when I think of the class of 2018 and 2020, who propelled her to the speaker's office, again, I think of so many of those younger members of Congress who, like her, like we heard from some of them today, are people who've been fighting in this fight for a very long time, not all of it in Congress, but mostly in their communities and serving in other ways. And so I think that her story is important to share, because politics isn't a great leap to power. It's the work that you do along the way for your values. And you never know when an opportunity to run within the Democratic Party or for public office may offer itself. But what we have to do is be ready. We all have to know our why, and we all have to make sure that foremost, we're focused on what calls us to service and what calls us to share our passion for democracy with our community and with our country. And so with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Speaker of the House, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi.
As a mother and a grandmother and family member, I am motivated by family to be involved in the public arena in the first place. That some children were going to sleep hungry at night was something that just motivated me to make time for those children. My involvement, though, with raising my family was sequential. It wasn't until they were nearly all in college that I went to Congress. I always say to the members, the word recreation and recreation are the same word. You must recreate, be with family, be renewed, be restored. That recreation is a recreation of you to be in the debate for the children. When I went to Congress, there were only 23, half women, half Democrats, half Republicans. I made a decision then and worked with others to make sure our numbers grew. And now we have over 100 women, mostly Democrats, but nonetheless, many more women in Congress. And some of them were very much in the forefront of writing the legislation on COVID that we did together to make sure that there was justice and that there was equity in how the funds were distributed. But it really wasn't until President Biden became president that we could do this effectively. And he had, as a central part of his agenda, equity, fairness, so that we would have whatever we were doing, whether it was COVID or whether it was building infrastructure, that we were doing so in a way that had equity, environmental justice, economic justice, health justice, and the rest in every aspect of it. And previously underserved communities would have the opportunity, whether they were Native American or people of communities of color, whatever it is, that it would be different than how things were done before. To build a better America, you have to do things differently. We always want to worry about the survival of our people and their success that we want them to have, but we needed something transformative so that women could be in the workplace, whether that was because of childcare or universal pre-K, children learning, parents earning, whether it's child tax credit or home health care initiatives to enable more women to be in the workplace, and men too. I'm not saying they don't have home responsibilities, but women overwhelmingly do. There's a Latin phrase, Jerry Brown used to use it all the time, age quod ages, do what you're doing. We want women, when they're working, to be able to do what they're doing so that people don't think, oh, I don't want to hire a woman, she'd rather be home. No, she's doing what she's doing here, knowing that her children are well cared for, her parents, her sibling, whoever needs help is well cared for. So it is transformative, and it's about equity, and it's about justice, but much more needs to be done. The kitchen table concerns that people have are right. They're their kitchen table concerns, but they keep them up at night, whether they're going to be able to pay for food, school, rent, credit card payment, whatever it happens to be. We have to make sure that people have more certainty about their financial security. Health security, very important. Healthcare is a big cost that is not only about the physical health of people, but the financial health of them as well. So in every way, we know what the challenges are. We have a president who's willing to sign the legislation, not only that, to write the legislation, to fight for the legislation, but we just have to get the job done. I always wanted to be sure that women had a security credential, whether it would be on the Foreign Affairs Committee, the House Armed Services Committee, Intelligence Committee, Homeland Security, Appropriations in any way, oversight, any way that they would have a security credential. Not only was it important for the women, it was important for our security, for them to do so. And now we see many more women as they prepare to go on to other offices. And I was just in Munich. I was talking to the president of Moldova, a woman, president of Kosovo, a woman, the prime minister of Australia, a woman. The list goes on, and many foreign ministers and defense ministers are women. And it's really important because you have to have that diversity at the table. And again, it's not to say that women are better than men in all of this. It's just you have to have the mix. The beauty is in the mix. We will have some initiatives in Congress that we hope will be very bipartisan to help the people of Ukraine, whether it's in a humanitarian way, defense way, or economically, to help them that way. We will have some policies also that will weaken Russia in the global economy. But we just really have to make sure people know this is absolutely outside the circle of civilized human behavior, what Putin is doing. And again, his assault on Ukraine is an assault on that country, and that's a horrible, heinous thing. But it's also an attack on democracy. It's an attack on democracy that we have to fight back. And so the people of Ukraine are not only fighting for their country, they're fighting for their democracy. And we have to help them with that. But there is also an assault on democracy in our own country with legislation to nullify elections, suppress the vote, those kinds of things that we have to that we have to fight in our own country, because if they prevail, if those who advocate that prevail, it will be a great diminishment of our own democracy, which is a model to the world. We have a responsibility to honor the vision of our founders, the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform and their families to protect our freedom, as well as the aspirations of our children as they go into the future. Women's right to choose is such a personal matter that it always just burns me up to see some people in government decide that they're going to be impacting the decisions of the size and timing of someone's family. But really, women's right to choose, the Roe v. Wade, is at risk now. We don't know what the court will decide, but we do know that we must have a Democratic pro-choice Congress in order to pass legislation to offset what the courts may do. As a mother of five children in 6 years and 1 week, I always say to the members, when you have 5 children in 6 years and 1 week, you talk to me about this. Otherwise, mind your own business and let people make their own decisions about all of this. And we have to be respectful about different points of view that people have, but we have to respect everyone's point of view, including those who are concerned about a woman's right to choose. It's an economic issue. You know, it's really an unfairness issue, because women of color and women who are poor at a lower end of the economic scale just have less of a chance to have the dignity of making their own decisions in their own time, in their own state. The Democratic Women in Blue, you give me so much hope. When the president spoke the other day with the Speaker of the House and of course the Vice President of the United States, 2 women behind him, it was pretty exciting for us. But what he had to say about women in the workplace and women in our economy and the rest, and women at home in terms of their privacy and the rest, was more important than any visual. Women have always been, the success of the Democratic Party has always sprung from the involvement of women. Again, getting out that vote, spreading that message, mobilization, messaging, and the rest have always made the big difference, and women have been the support, the source of that strength. So know your power, know your why, know why you are interested in doing this, and congratulations on your initiatives to make the future better for America. Thank you.
Go Nancy, go Nancy, go Nancy. Go Nancy, go Nancy, go Nancy. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just love her.
No, do it.
I just love her. Yes.
I'm so proud of her. She gets the job done. And every time, what did the song say? Put a woman in charge. She gets it done.
Absolutely.
And every time they underestimate what she's capable of, she makes them eat their words. She's phenomenal.
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does.
Yes, she.
I love it. Put a woman in charge.
Put a woman in charge. And speaking of a woman in charge, our next speaker has been in charge of helping organize this program committee. So with our thanks, we'll go back to Idaho and Ginny Blue for our next presentation.
Thank you so very much. Oh my goodness, was that not the greatest? Wow, I could listen to her all day long. Very fortunate. Thank you so much for getting that forth. It is my honor to introduce Leah Babian. Leah and her family are survivors of the anti-Armenian ethnic killings in Baku, Azerbaijan. As a young girl, she and her family were relocated to Twin Falls, Idaho. Leah opened her sustainable boutique, Ooh La La, in 2007, and 10 years later opened her business Makepeace, an organic potato skincare line that donates soap to displaced people for every product they sell. She gives back to her community with passion and has served on the Twin Falls School Board, was the first refugee to run for city council in Idaho. Just a few of the many awards Ms. Babian has earned: the Extra Mile Governor's Award, named one of Idaho's Women of the Year in 2015 and 2020. Idaho's Hometown Hero Award for her advocacy work in the community, the ACLU Civil Rights Service Award. She's been featured in the New York Times and is the vice president of the ACLU of Idaho's board. Her book, Liminal, a refugee memoir, which she will be reading a part from, was published in 2018, and she was invited in 2019 to share her experience with Congress. In 2020, with a collaboration with the Southern Oregon University, a teacher's guide to Liminal was developed to support educators in presenting the refugee perspective in the classroom. Naturally, Leah's greatest joy comes from her family, especially her 2 children, who allow her to relive a better childhood. In this perilous time in our world, please open your hearts and hear the experience from one war-torn child with the strength to share it for greater good. Please help me in welcoming Ms. Leah Babian.
Thank you. My name is Leah Babayan. I am the author of Liminal, a refugee memoir. Journal entry, age 11. It, genocide, killed us inside. Like this, we are still living. Journal entry, age 12. I don't want my friends to know about my real childhood. It is where I hide the rest of me, the part I cannot talk about. Journal entry, age 14. My black hair and features always remind me of the genocide. I often felt this pain and shame in looking in the mirror. I feel my ancestors. Journal entry, age 10. My home. This not my home. My home is Baku. My bed is Baku. My toys is Baku. We go everywhere. My home is not everywhere. Journal entry, age 11. War kills childhood. Everything else can be rebuilt. Journal entry, 13. Pretending to be anywhere else than where I was, anything else than who I was, I learned to disappear. Journal entry, age 12. As the plane landed, I felt the girl I was in Armenia start to disappear. All of a sudden, I did not exist. I don't know who we are in this new land. Journal entry, 14 years old. They have boxes for people in America. White, African American, Hispanic, island people. For us, they have the other box. I am other here. They make me other in America. Other, like a chair, cactus, rock, other. How can I be human as other? I don't want to live as other.
Thank you so much to Leah Babian for sharing that perspective on what it's like to go to a new country and hope to be welcomed. So back to Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from our state of Georgia resident, national president, Gail Buckner, for the purpose of an introduction of an introduction. So, Madam President, back over to you.
Thank you, Christine. Well, it is certainly an honor and privilege to introduce Joanne Sullivan, one of our DNC members. Joanne is a former president of NFDW, and if you received our last communicator, actually all of the communicators during this term, Joanne is who has been the main force in putting that together. She had a little help from Monica finishing it off, but what an outstanding newsletter that we had. And so Joanne is now going to do an introduction.
Thank you, Gail. I'm so glad to be here to see all of your faces. Everybody looks fabulous. Just a reminder about that communicator. It's really the call to convention, the April issue, but the deadline is March 28th. But I am very pleased. I am Joanne Sullivan. I am from Connecticut. As Gail said, I am a past president of the National Federation of Democratic Women. I am one of the 3 DNC members, along with our president, Gail Buckner, and the DNC Black Caucus chair, Virgie Rollins. And it is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce to you today our DNC chair, Jaime Harrison. Jaime is the current DNC chair, and he's also a former state party chair from South Carolina, where he served as state party chair from 2013 to 2017. I am so looking forward to seeing him this weekend when he's going to share with us so many of his dirt road politics stories. Please welcome DNC Chair Jaime Harrison.
Hello, folks. It's an honor to be with you all at this year's Women in Blue Day. Organizations like the National Federation of Democratic Women are so important. Your work doesn't just make the Democratic Party stronger and more inclusive. It helps us build a better country for everyone. It helps us get our country closer, step by step, to its original promise. You know, my grandmother helped raise me, and so much of what I know about public service comes from her. She likes to tell me, Jaime, people aren't looking for a handout. They're looking for a hand up. The work each of you does to build grassroots support for Democratic priorities is vital. You all help President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Democrats in Congress give Americans that hand up. As we head towards the midterms, your work will be more important than ever. Republicans want to undo the progress we've made. They're attacking reproductive freedom. They're attacking our right to vote. They have no plan to fight inflation and invest in working families. Democrats, we have a plan. From now until Election Day, I need you all to be relentless in spreading that message. Tell your family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, anybody who will listen. If you are looking for leaders that have a plan to address your everyday needs, if you're looking for leaders that get real results, you're looking for a Democrat. You know, our motto in South Carolina is, while I breathe, I hope. But hoping won't be enough this year, my friends. We got to vote. We have to organize, donate, and do everything that we can to elect Democrats. So thank you for all of your hard work. It's an honor to be in this fight with each and every one of you.
If I may, once again, did anybody notice a little difference in the accent between Joanne and me? I don't think Joanne's from the South.
Oh no, Connecticut is part of the North, but there's definitely a difference, but thank you for mentioning that, Gail.
Well, I thought it was cute, so back to you, Christine.
Well, it is wonderful to see our Democratic National Committee colleagues. I know also Carolyn Fowler from California is also a member of the DNC. We'll all be together over the next couple of days. We'll get to hear from President Biden. We'll get to hear from Chair Harrison. We will be in community with each other and, of course, reporting back to you on all the work that we are doing to remind people about the first anniversary of the American Rescue Plan, to remind people about the bipartisan infrastructure law, to remind people about the omnibus bill that is passing through the Congress as we sit here and talk to you. And of course, to remind people about the struggle for democracy at home and abroad and how that must be, once again, led by women. I know we have, again, an artistic component to this. It really is the arts that bring us together. And so again, thanks to our wonderful programming committee, we will now go to a musical interlude and presentation.
21. Sad eyes, don't be discouraged. Just call me, I'll be, because you know I'll be there, and I'll see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. Don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful. I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. Don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful. Like a
So wonderful. And of course, our true color is blue, shades of hue of blue everywhere. We are so appreciative to everybody for all you being here today with us and staying throughout the program and putting your energy into the chat. We have requests for resources from you, and that we will make sure we get them to you. Save the date for our national convention, June 10th and 11th. It is again going to be virtual, hopefully for the last time. But let's give special thanks to the committee, to Audrey and Susanna and Tanya and Classy and Linda and Denise, Patricia, Brenda, Monica, Joan, Ginny, Lloyd, Mary, Ardenise, Camille, Sess, Sarah Wood, and of course, our president, Gail Buckner, and the one, the only woman who's going to close us out, Hazel Thomas. Hazel, take us home.
To take you home. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much, Christine. I would like to just take a moment of personal privilege. I have to give a shout out to Estelle Lloyd, who for many years, for 3 years actually, was the chair of the Women in Blue, and on whose shoulders we stand. Hi, Estelle, also from DC, and her team. They set a very high bar for us, and we hope we have come somewhat close to it. It is, again, I would like to thank everybody who served on the committee, each one of the states that participated, and also those states that, for whatever the reason, women have so many things pulling at them on a daily basis that they're not always able to participate as they would like to. I would like to call one thing to your attention. If you would like to make a donation to our Women in Blue committee to defray the cost of doing a production of this type, there was information in the chat that would instruct you as to how to do it. 2 final reminders, and that is, we really want to encourage you to be the leader that you want to see. It's all on you. We can talk pretty words, but as Christina said, it's the action that makes the difference. It's on you. And we're depending on you to out-organize those people in red on the state level, on the county level, in the town level, and the city level. Take charge of your local newspapers. Put some democratic views in your local newsletters and your newspapers, your talk radio. That's how they're winning. They are attempting to win the fight by changing the way people think. So you take charge. You be the change that you want to see. I am so honored and blessed to be here today with those such wonderful women, competent, capable, experienced, knowledgeable women from all across the country. And I am confident, I am thoroughly confident that you can get it done. So your charge today is to leave no voter behind. Do not make assumptions about what they think or what they would do. You take charge. I don't care how red the area, you can make a difference, one person at a time. And with that, I just want to thank all of you. Very, very, very special thanks to our tech team. And that was co-chaired by Mary Kuhler and our Denise Everson, Cez Rosales, and Camille Glover. They have done an extraordinary job. Join me in thanking them, because I recognize my limitations, as we all do. We could not have done this without them. And so we thank them especially, and we thank you for being with us today. You enjoy your day, the remainder of your day. Get out there. Don't get weary and well-doing. Continue to fight. We've won this fight. All you have to do is take action. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.